question. So the next question is, how will you ensure your team is following Scrum as a Scrum Master? How your team is following Scrum? So uh, there are actually different variations we can look for this question. I'll talk from my own experience as a uh, practical stuff that what I follow. And in addition, there is a standard as well that how we need to ensure that our team is following, how we can measure that. There are certain tools and there are certain kind of mechanism metrics that we can follow to ensure whether Scrum is being followed in the team or not. So for example, in a PI, if we follow the scaled agile framework, at the end of the PA, we generally have some certain set of questions. We take it as a kind of survey with the team to ensure what is the maturity level that we follow each and every ceremony, and the benefits and the outcome of each and every ceremony, and how well we are able to follow the Scrum process, and overall how we are managing the dependencies, and how well we are able to mitigate or resolve or the overall risk row mechanism, that is with resolved or accepted or mitigated or wound, whatever may be the status, how are we managing it with the risk, and then with the dependencies, then with the overall Scrum process, how are we following, and to measure the quality of each and every Scrum ceremony as well. So these all are certain questions we try to put, and we will get the answer. Like for example, how effectively we are conducting the retrospective, and how many action items we were able to complete, and how well we are in saying that we are continuously improving, and there is always an option for continuous improvement. So are we really doing that? How much we have improved from the past? And coming to the Scrum ceremonies, other ceremonies like planning, how effectively we are doing the planning, and how well we are able to predict, like whether we can achieve the sprint goal, and how are we with our product roadmap, the understanding of the overall product goal, the product vision, and the product roadmap, how well as a team that we are able to understand. All these questions will be asked, which will give us the kind of like indicator, are we really following the Scrum, or is there any gap in certain areas? Because it's actually, even though it looks like a collated set of questions, but still there will be set of questions in each and every section, which will give us the indicator, okay, there is still an opportunity to improve in this place. Like the Scrum ceremonies are not so happening effectively, still we can improve on that. And there are places like, okay, being the Scrum ceremonies, I think the daily stand-up meeting should be still more conducted in a different way. Like maybe, for example, the PO is not at all attending, we are not getting right information at the time. This all will be actually would have been conducted as part of the retro points that we would have collected. But as an overall, the team may be feeling that there are still the options to improve in certain places. So this metric will help us to understand as a team what is the maturity where we have reached as a team in following this Scrum. Now let me tell, there is one more option what I feel that can be used. There are two things, like one is a new team that's following Agile methodology and we have picked up a Scrum. In that case, actually we just want to go with the flow of Scrum and understand, will this suit for our project? If not, we need to try it with other options. That's one thing. There is another project where we have actually transitioned from waterfall to Agile. There may be some reason. With waterfall, we would have seen some kind of challenges which we want to rectify here. That's why we have selected. So now, when selecting these models, definitely we would have thought about, okay, why we are selecting this. We definitely would have got some goal, right? Like if I'm actually I'm if you take, I'm a coffee person, for example. I daily drink coffee, I don't drink tea, for example. And suddenly one of my friend is coming and saying like, hey, this tea with this herbal things which is which is very good for health. Why can't you try it out? And see, these all are the benefits. She's saying something like that. Okay. In this case, I'm changing from coffee to tea. Just I got some information. I want to try it out. Now, really, how I will see the benefit means I will be, am I really getting the benefits what my friend mentioned after taking tea as a everyday habit? Or I'm still actually still thinking like, oh, what was the issue with coffee? I would have still stayed with coffee only. What's the different outcome I'm seeking? That can be one question, right? So it's about whenever we are transitioning from some methodology to any methodology, we would have seen some kind of flaws, or we would have thought that maybe for this project, instead of this methodology, Agile may suit. Why can't we try it out? So for some reason, we have shifted. Whether we kind of achieved that goal or not, I'm not saying completely achieved, because it's again a continuous process, right? So have we at least reached to some level which actually we are inching towards the achievement? Have we done that, or are we doing that? Okay, that's one way of measuring whether we can actually the outcome with any methodology, whether it is actually being followed by team, whether it is giving outcome or not. When the outcome will come, when we start following that as a practice. So that itself shows that your practice is actually successfully launched, and that methodology is working well, and the framework is start giving some kind of benefits. So now, second option, I have tried, with a new project, I'm start doing Agile, just thinking that Agile will suit. Okay, Agile with Scrum process I'm following in my team. But over a period of time, I'm following, and maybe we are doing well. But as a whole outcome, this may not be the right thing. Like, for example, I have just started Scrum with the Scrum, but the product backlog items I cannot define on my own as a product owner. The reason being, my product is already available in the production side, where one more option I'm getting often is like I'm getting n number of tickets which I don't have any control, and it may go as any different level of priority, maybe high, maybe low, maybe anything. Like ad hoc things are coming in a very rapid mode in my project. Will Scrum will work? Anyone will say Kanban will work. So even though I follow all the process, the outcome is not the one that I have expected, because every time I have challenges, because this model won't work for me, right? So in this case, Scrum is actually, even though we followed, my team followed, outcome is missing. So one is the first part what we discussed, checking the maturity of the process with the help of certain parameters, with the help of certain metrics, and from the survey what we collect, and try to understand where we were and ensuring whether as a team we are following the Scrum and achieving the goal what we need. That's awesome that we have numbers to show. The other thing is these two cases, wherever you are, whether your transition have achieved the goal or not. If the goal is achieved, obviously the model that whatever you have picked would have been worked out very well. That is one way. It cannot be measured with that's what I'm not using the word output, I'm using the word outcome, because outcome is actually something we may or may not be able to measure with the help of the numbers, but still we will be able to see some results that's going to be so awesome. So same way, even whether it is transition or with the new project, with this model whatever we are using, the team is following certain things, but we have also achieved the goal what we have set when we picked up this model. As the outcome, we have achieved that goal. That's awesome. That's one way I measure whether as a team that we are following really the process what we intended to do for. Sunand, your points please.
Okay, thanks, Sylvie. Great. Okay, I'll take a little time over here. And whoever is watching this video, guys, whatever we have discussed in the first half by Sylvie, that is nothing but a radar chart. So normally, most of the big organization, they have something called team agile maturity metrics, and that metric is nothing but we have different parameters, and then on those parameters we have different instructions, and then, for example, we have to choose the current level, the maturity level of our team, and going forward, how we are going to improve on those parameters. Okay, so it's a complete radar chart. If you don't have with you, put the comment, put your email ID, I will send it to you. Okay, so no need to worry about, and it's really going to help you. Some people will say it's of no use, but I personally see, because you can visualize your data, you can ask your team, and it's very transparent. Okay, I'm just going to highlight few things. If you already have, or if you don't want, that's also okay. So for example, there are different parameters. For example, team dynamics. Now when we talk about team dynamics, right, now how as a team, the morale of my team, how in which particular domain stage my team is, whether I'm still forming, storming, norming, or performing, right? So all these things, whether we are doing agile or being agile. So these kind of questions are there, and you can choose based on the current existing form of your team. Now this is just a one parameter. Now there are, for example, different things. For example, team environment, whether your team is cross-functional, co-location, what is your team size, whether it's like less than 10 people, whether which is suggested by Scrum, or less than equal to 10, or so there are different parameters. Based on that parameter, you will come up with one particular error chart, right? Whether your team is handling the impediments, the way they are handling the impediments, whether they are still rely on the Scrum Master, or whether they are even aware about the impediments. So there are a lot of things which you can predict from this particular agile maturity matrix, the template. Then we have something called product. So whether your team is aware about the product vision, whether we are actually using the invest model, what is the cycle time from concept to development to release, how much time we are taking, right? Whether we have our definition of done, whether we have our definition of ready, how we are doing our story sizing, how our backlog refinement is working, whether we are aware about vertical slicing, right? There are a lot of things with respect to product. Then with respect to agile processes, whether we are following, doing proper events. So whether we are having our stand-ups, our daily scrums, our retrospectives, how effective those retrospective, whether someone is actually taking some action items or not, whether we are closing our action items or not, right? Estimation, how we are working toward estimation, are those ad hoc or we are following properly, whether our estimation are like more over 90% plus minus equal or not, whether they are consistent over a period of time. So there are a lot of things which you can derive from it. You know how you are progressing your how as a team you are progressing our improvement, right? Then on the engineering part, whether how we are doing our code reviews, whether we are using any automation part, implementation of CI/CD, how we are doing our testing, refactoring, how we are, whether we are utilizing our old code or not, right? So basically, that maturity matrix can give you a good picture, overall holistic picture of your team, that where are you right now and where you want to go in future, right? So if you don't have this, please ask me. I will send it to you. This will be definitely going to help everyone. If you are a new team or you're just about to start. So yeah, this is the one way of find out the agile maturity of your team. There are other ways, but I think this is the simplest one to start with. Yeah, Sylvie.
Thank you so much, Sunand.